The Square Ball Podcast.
Well, we are about to propaganda ourselves, I suppose, in many ways here.
Is that right?
I think so. We're going to go back and listen to what was said on this football fan channel and see how idiotic we were.
Well, listen, in terms of we'll repeat it ourselves.
Square Ball Summer Update. Hello, it's Dan with Michael and Rob. Show is brought to you with Levi Solicitors, probably.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Keep going with yeah. Love those guys.
I think they're still going through the summer, aren't they?
Yep.
Tireless.
Yep.
Probably. It's probably convincing.
Is that all you're offering now?
All right. What else do you want? It's a good time. Football season's over. Got some spare time, probably. Get a will sorted out.
Right.
There you go.
Is that how you're spending your promotion celebrations?
It's a wise thing to do.
Yeah. I've heard you're so focused on getting your life admin sorted out that you're doing lasting powers of attorney as we speak. Are you certainly thinking about it?
Given some of the paper cuts I've encountered building mug boxes, there's a very real risk to my life.
Wow.
So need to get it sorted.
Hero. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Full terms on the website. 10% discount on your legal fees on the full range of services. Yeah. Right. What did we say? We're going to go back and revisit our pre-season predictions, which we also dipped into in January, about halfway through the season, give or take.
Yes, it was just before the Burnley away game. That absolute. What was your favourite bit of that Burnley game?
The final whistle.
It was the national media reaction and how angry they all were for being sent there to cover it. I did quite enjoy that.
Yeah, it was terrible, wasn't it? But yeah, so we had a little dip back into it then. So let's go right to the start of the season.
Yep.
League position, the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we all said champions.
Quite right.
And then we all said champions again in January.
With any less conviction?
Maybe a touch. It was only really me that was reluctant. I was talked into it.
I was going to say, it won't come as a surprise to anybody who has listened to this show or watched this show to say that you were probably the most reluctant person to commit to us being champions. Me and Rob obviously knew it from the start.
Oh, I did as well, really.
So when we revisited these predictions, were we top of the league?
Yes.
And you were less confident?
Well, possibly. I was probably about as confident as I was at the start of the season. I always thought we were the best team with the best players. It was just the Leedsy bit that I was struggling with. And let's face it, we didn't win the league easily, did we?
We got 100 points.
I know, but I mean, we weren't top of the league with 91 minutes gone of the final game of the season. So maybe I was right to be a little bit hesitant to say we'd be champions.
Is it on the prediction show that I said we'd probably go top around Christmas and stay there, which wasn't a bad prediction all in. We only dropped off the top for about a week, didn't we, I think, in the whole running?
Yeah, we were mainly up there, but then it was very, very close, wasn't it? And Burnley just did not stop getting points.
Did get a little bit tense, didn't it? I think if we were to propaganda ourselves, we would be looking back at that Swansea match ball and cringing at some of the things we said.
Thankfully, I'll never do that. It has been suggested to us that we should do that. Go back and listen to it in the context of knowing what the outcome is.
Where we were all wrong was in predicting how many points we'd get, because
fairly sure I must have said 100, no?
No, you said 93.
Right.
Same as Bielsa. I think I went 90, the same as the previous year, but going up. And you, Rob, and Dean both went for 87, but you clearly thought we would win the league on 87 points.
Idiotic.
I know, that is daft. I really didn't see it being like last season with Leicester and Ipswich. I thought that was daft. That was an outlier. How wrong I was.
And if anything, it ramped up, did the form of the top 2/3 by the end of the season. Because when I was looking back at January when we did this, based on the points per game at that stage, we'd have ended on 97, Sheffield United 95, Burnley 92, Sunderland 89. So in the end, Sunderland got 76 points. So they dropped off pretty significantly. But us and Burnley, from an already very high mark, actually managed to ramp it up even further from there.
Yeah. When we spoke to Ali from Not the Top 20 earlier this week, and we were chatting about the general state of the Championship and the EFL and how there's almost this subgroup starting to emerge now of teams that are too good or too rich for the Championship, but can't quite bridge the gap to the Premier League. And we were saying we kind of hope desperately that we are going to be able to bridge that gap, but I don't think we're under any illusions, are we? But I think my guess of 93 points was probably based on it not being quite as much an outlier as last season, but it seems to be going more in that direction, doesn't it?
It does seem to feel now like if you get relegated with all those parachute payments and the financial boost you're getting going up, you've got to really fuck things up not to go back up, basically.
Or to go straight down.
Well, yes, that's very true.
Luton, quite a spectacular effort.
Yeah, I was thinking of like Stoke, how they've just become mired in Championship mediocrity. But yeah, Luton are pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, you do see in teams like Stoke and I guess West Brom and Norwich teams that spent years bouncing up and down, but then you have a couple of bad years or not brilliant years in a row and you end up stuck there, which Sheffield United may find themselves if they don't go up through the playoffs this time around, because don't know if it'll be easier or harder from next year depending on how strong anyone is coming down. But yeah. So we did say in January we revised the points total based on points per game and everything, and that's what we would take at that stage. You said we should aim for 100, Dan.
Good.
Which was good. You wanted 100.
I wanted 100 goals though as well, so it's been a massive letdown.
Yeah, you got them really.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
When
so,
you think about the offside ones, and
I want it in the history books though. I want an asterisk next to that 95 or whatever we got.
Yeah, a bit like the 1975 European Cup final. Fair enough.
So I would have settled for 95 at that point. And you said we should aim for 100 though, and I was going down, but would you take 99? Yep. Would you take 98? Yep. 97? Yep. It was only when we got to the mid-90s you were like, probably be enough.
Well, as it was, 90 points would have taken us up to have matched Sheffield United.
Did they finish on 90?
Yes, yeah. So we got 100, they got 90. Obviously, it's skewed by what happens in the later weeks. Like, they could afford to drop off when they knew they couldn't go up automatically.
They dropped off before that. Oh, fair play to them.
Yeah, so good on them for doing so. But 90 would have been enough to take us up on goal difference. If you were just for the fact that they got their 2 points deducted, it would have been 92 or 93. What I'm saying, I'm angling towards saying 93 would have been a good prediction for promotion, but not quite enough for the title. But yeah, I'm glad I said that, aim for 100, because we did and we got it. Did you spot that?
Well, yeah, I didn't think we would necessarily.
100 points is great. I'm still really happy about that. It's such a good number to hit.
Yeah, it is nice to see that the girth of it on a league table. It's like, 3 digits.
Oh, an extra column.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you were going back to the old sort of teletext or CFAX days on your old fashioned telly, that would have actually knackered everything up, wouldn't it? Because it was fixed with text on teletext. Beautiful. Yeah, so did we call that right? Yeah, we did.
Well, we all got the outcome right. Champions. Mm-hmm. So well done. Well done us. Where we didn't get it right, none of us got it right. Player of the year. It depends how we're judging this, of course, because there's the official club one. There's our one that we still have not yet quite decided, probably. But are we going to chat about that in the second half of this show? Oh, fair enough. Yeah, but I'll just quickly talk through what the predictions were then. I'll just sort of winging it at this time of year. Like, what are we actually going to do in the next 20 minutes? To me and Rob both went for Georgie Rutter. I thought his one game.
He was great in that, wasn't he?
That was good. It was just one game, wasn't it?
2 if you count the League Cup.
Oh, yeah, of course.
When he was already leaving.
Doesn't qualify for a medal. You need to have been named on 25% of the team sheets in the season to qualify for a medal. Although they do get a set number of medals at the club and they can decide, I think it's 30 they get. So you get 25 for your squad, 5 for backroom staff, and then you can order more over and above that at the club's expense, of course. Sean Harvey's fault, probably. So I wonder if they've ordered one specially for Georgie. Max, you can pay for your own. Did he probably make it? He was in quite a lot. He was in a lot of squads, wasn't he?
If you just have to be on the bench, just make him go pick it up himself.
It's so harsh on him.
Well,
just because he wanted to better himself,
should he?
No,
should have bettered himself at Leeds, then, shouldn't he?
He wasn't. He was injured a lot, wasn't he? Let's be generous to him. But Dan, you said Joe Rodon.
I think that's the closest, probably.
Safe bet.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Very good the season before. Very good again this year.
There's an argument for it, I think.
Yeah.
I think, but it tends to be like attacking players tend to take the eye, don't they, with these things? But I wondered if we'd get promoted based on defensive solidity, which we did, but Burnley's defensive solidity skewed it a bit more, and our attacking probably overshadowed our brilliant defending.
Joe Rodon's a much more fun defender than anything Burnley have got.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And he did, speaking of attacking, scored 1 goal, which is quite a big deal because I wouldn't back him to get another one.
Well, given the way you missed that, was it against Preston?
Oh my God.
Where it just hit him on the line and somehow went backwards.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
It's never happening again.
But yeah, Rodon has played the most minutes for us this season, hasn't he?
Was he ever present?
I think he played all but about 12 minutes in the whole season.
He was. I know earlier in the season when I looked at minutes played, there were a few goalkeepers just above him. But yeah, he was like 5th in the division, I think, or something.
That's insane. For a man who looks like he's held together by gaffer tape at most points, he has done incredibly well. And
also, prior to joining us, he's never played that amount of football in his career, I think, in a season. So it's not easy, is it? Like you saw how Tanaka started flagging a little bit towards the back end of the season because you're in a 46-game season, and in Germany they'd have had the feet up a long time before that.
It's too many. We can all agree on that, can't we?
Yeah. I'm so happy we don't 46.
It's too many. No one else does this many games.
I was going to say, while that final run-in was magical, it went on far, far too long. I remember getting toward the back end of last season and just sort of feeling emotionally spent and broken. And then it just carried on and carried on. And I know we had the playoffs as well to factor into it, but I was done. I was done about 4 or 5 games to go. I've had enough now. That's enough. Stop.
Yeah, I'm so pleased. We've said it many times, but God, I'm pleased we're not in the playoffs.
I would not have been able to cope with that.
Yeah, second leg has happened. We're recording this ahead of the second leg, which is tonight. Sunderland and Coventry. So congratulations to whichever bastards have got there.
What is the score in that from the first leg? I'm just not paying attention.
Sunderland's 2-1 up.
2-1 up. Yeah. So they've been blathering, Frank Lampard, Ellen Road, Leeds, Leeds. They were trying
to spin it as he himself was trying to spin it, wasn't he? As being
he tweaked something, didn't he?
He tweaked something.
It was a tactical masterclass against Bielsa. It's not how I remember it.
No, Kiko Casilla happened. Liam Cooper happened.
That's what he tweaked. Kiko Casilla,
maybe so. And wasn't Marriott only on the pitch because someone else got injured as well? I'm pretty sure he was forced into a sub, and then a couple of players lost their minds, and then Brady got sent off. But well done, Frank. Well done. If it's good for your CV, you and Jesse Marsh can do your masterclass videos on games that you didn't really deserve to win.
It's funny how he didn't mention the final either, did he?
No. I was delighted they didn't go up that year, I have to say.
Yeah.
Which is hugely. I didn't much like Villa either, truth be told. But
it essentially saved them from financial hardship and punishment for breach of PSR. They basically escaped it, didn't they?
Yeah.
But it was
Derby did not.
It was the lesser of two evils, I think, where those two were concerned.
Yeah, I didn't want to see Lampard dancing on the Wembley pitch. It'd have been, and I don't want to see it this year either.
No.
Even if it means Chris Wilder winning it, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Although it would be quite a spectacle to see Lampard trying to deal with the Premier League with Coventry squad.
I think if he gets them up, though, it just guarantees him another job.
Which is good, though, in a way.
No, I don't want to see him.
He might bail out this summer.
Right.
If he got him up, he might be like, right, I don't fancy a relegation battle.
Did you see Russell
What's
Martin?
next for Frank?
West Ham shit the pants, sack Potter because it's not going well.
Although he's not popular there.
Right. But yeah, he could frame it as a anyway. Who cares? Right. Where were we in the?
I'll play with you. We did because we did have the main one, and then an outside bet. You went for Dan James, which is not really an outside bet, given he's like one of our best attacking players for last season. But as an outside bet, well done, Rob. You were braver. You went for Bogle.
Again, that's a great shout.
I think at the time I was really regretting that, albeit it was just starting to turn when we revisited these predictions. He was starting to play well, but he was unbelievable second half of the season.
Yeah, Dean went for Gruev, which probably not on anyone's like shortlist, but very good,
solid,
very solid.
You can think lovingly towards them all, can't you? Now, though.
Yeah, I was thinking that as I was watching back the goals video that you recommended, Dan. We stitched them all together.
Yeah,
like yeah.
These lovely boys.
They're all right, aren't they, really? Watching them all celebrating together and stuff.
Those videos as well are great for the bad times. I think when we were getting relegated from the Premier League, I watched the Bielsa promotion and finishing 9th goals a lot. So I will be doing that probably in a year or two, maybe.
Damn, we were good then as well, you know.
Oh, they're amazing.
So good that season. But anyway, let's hope we can replicate it.
So I went for Firpo as my outside bet. I've got a clip here. This is related to Dean's reasons for picking Pascal, which... given we didn't quite know how many set piece goals and how many involvements Rothwell and him would have. So there's some talk of that. And then there's my reason for giving Firpo as my outside bet, which was about him having a good song and people enjoying singing it at Sunderland. And then obviously that would have happened, but then Melier messed it up. But then in talking about that, you weirdly foreshadow something that happens at the end of the season.
Dean said Pascal Strauch would be our player of the season. We will also get 6 goals from Joe Rothwell corners. almost actually went for Rothwell and then went for Gruev instead.
Yeah. So we had like an obvious one and then a bit of an outside bet each. Yeah. Gruever's an outsider and Pascal both maybe a bit hampered by injuries. And Pascal, he's got one from a Joe Rothwell corner, hasn't he?
The Sheffield United game, was it?
Yes.
I think we scored one more since then. I don't know. It's still not many.
Not from Pascal though, was it?
Young player of the year, we all went for.
Well, actually, I need to touch on because my outside bet for player of the year was Firpo. And I made a good prediction in this.
Yep.
Because I said he has a good song that will keep him in people's minds, and they will think I enjoyed singing that when he scored at Sunderland. And they would have done.
That's what everyone thinks back to that Sunderland game.
Exactly. It would have been everyone's abiding memory of that Sunderland game. So Melio's probably cost Firpo a chance here.
Look at Nostradamus over here.
That's why he stormed down the tunnel at full time. He's fucking fuming.
Yeah.
He'd heard your prediction.
He was like, it was written. It was destiny, and now he's done that.
It's unwritten like Natasha Bedingfield. Oh my God.
There you go. I was listening back to it yesterday. I was like, I would never have thought that song would play any role in this promotion battle.
Well, would you believe it?
But there we go. Did you know?
I don't think I did. Or maybe I did.
Had you been wiretapping the Burnley dressing room or something?
We're so much more insightful than people give us credit for.
Which you need to pick like another 15-year-old song.
Because that clip was coming to an end and I could see the time running out on it. There was like 2 seconds left. I thought there's been no prediction in there. And then I said that and that's, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the thing of...
That's spooky.
The thing of Pascal scoring set-piece goals as well.
Page before you. Sorry?
The thing about Pascal scoring some key goals from Joe Rothwell corners as well was mentioned.
Sunderland, which was Sunderland return leg, yeah.
Exactly. And it was... we scored from Rothwell corners against Sheffield United as well.
Yeah, I wonder how many we did score from in the end. It's been a good season for Leeds set pieces by our usual standards.
Well, we've already talked about Rodon got one, didn't he?
Yeah.
We've had disputes with Johnny Cooper about this in the past because he's tried to claim we're good at corners, but it counts if it's within so many seconds or so many touches or something of a set piece, doesn't it? So even if you absolutely like flop on at the near post and it gets cleared back to you and you score from it, it still kind of counts as being scoring from a corner.
A different phase of play.
Yeah, there's some categorization of it, which means we're slightly better than we are.
You heard in that clip there, we mentioned moving on to Young Player of the Year. Shall we do that?
We also Matteo Joseph.
Well, there weren't many options, were there really?
Ignoring the fact that Willie Nonto is also the same age.
Yeah, I didn't realise that he was only 20 at the start of the season.
He may be only a boy child, but it feels like he's been a grown man forever.
Yeah, we did address it in January, in fairness, because I said like it feels like Willie Nonto should be excluded because he's been around and he's sort of a senior player, even though he's not.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did win it, which is fair enough.
Has he not already won it once before? Did he win it? Well, we probably wouldn't have had an awards due on the relegation season, would we?
No, we didn't. I don't know.
Right, okay. Because he was the Young Player of the Year that season, wasn't he, really?
You would think so. Sam Byron would have been the other one for Young Player of the Year, just because he's forever young. Yeah. He's that boy.
Right.
I'm aware he's 33 or something.
So funny being looking at the photos of them in Las Vegas and actually being struck by A, the celebrations generally, and B, them in Vegas. They're all just young lads. They're really, really young lads. Like, they're all just the boys.
And Alex Cairns.
Yeah, that's true. And Joshua are there, just like patrolling on the edge, just keeping an eye on everything, making sure, like the senior lion in the pack, just looking over everybody, making sure nobody's getting into any bother.
He's really assumed the dad role, hasn't he? I think he's just going to wear that cowboy hat forever now.
Yeah.
And Brendy's not there. No. I know from stalking Milana. He's been making pesto in Italy.
Right.
And
do you think they've gone to like a cooking retreat or something?
Pretending to enjoy it. Well, looking at his WhatsApp's probably going, fuck's sake. What are those pictures of? Nothing.
It's like Laji Ramazani surrounded by a gaggle of women.
Look, do you wish you were there instead of here? No. No, I'm glad we've come away. This is good too. Just in a less obviously fun kind of way. I'm enjoying this.
I like pesto.
It's nice to have you taking loads of pictures while we do everything on holiday.
It was dead funny, like seeing Sam Byram floating around the edges of those photos as well, against all all the rest of them, and how Sam Byram he looks so white. Is Sam Byram like he looks like he's been walking around slapping Factor 50 on himself, hiding under an umbrella.
Probably has very sensible.
Yeah, with a hat on, reminding all the other lads. So lads, Factor 50.
It's all very well. You're getting a tan now. You pay for that when you're older.
Yeah,
you get wrinkles. you got to think about the risks. Come on, everyone.
Well, look at him though. He looks beautiful. He's not aged, so
yeah. And he was dancing to the Chainsmokers. You see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they were in the DJ.
I mean,
booth.
equally, I wouldn't have known what that sounded like. So maybe I have seen it. Who knows?
But great fun. Young Player of the Year. We also had Mateo Joseph, which seemed like the logical. I said even in January, I reinforced, and I said seems like the likeliest outcome still.
Yeah. Didn't quite have the season. I mean, you also, moving on to top scorer, you predicted he would get at least 25 to 30 goals, maybe 40 goals.
Yeah, I mean, look, things were said, mistakes were made, no regrets.
He'd never started a league game before. He was going to get 40 goals.
I said he'd be top scorer too. You were sensible and went for Pirro, which
it's what he does, doesn't he? He just scores goals.
Which is the,
yeah.
Was the obvious answer. It was a low scoring division though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And weirdly, when we revisited this in January, Sainz was the top scorer with 15 and he finished on 18.
Right.
So,
but he did get suspended for a bit, didn't he?
For some spitting. Yeah, he missed eight games. But yeah, it was quite a low scoring league. When you think of the years when we weren't actually very good and like McCormack would score 30 goals.
Chris Wood, yeah.
Yeah, in what were generally pretty crap teams.
I think people did get carried away by Joseph's pre-season as well. Because he did look very, very good then. But yeah, he'd not started a league game, so it felt like a bit of a leap.
I think there was a lot of confidence like in him internally as well. Like they said he's absolutely on fire here in pre-season, looking like he's going to rip it up.
We maybe just got the year wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes on, has a championship loan this season and does get 40 goals.
Yeah.
Maybe. It doesn't feel like he's going to probably play, does it, next year?
No. Well, don't know.
Depends what we do in
Bamford.
What we do in the market as well from here, because Joseph's obviously going to be there. Can they move Bamford on, bring somebody else in? Be interesting to see, won't it? Yeah, possibly a little bit ambitious to suggest 40 goals.
I mean, has it ever been done in the Championship?
Probably
did
not.
Mitrovic do it a while ago? Or he came close to it, didn't he? I think he was like 30 odd. I think.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the stats, there was a real spread of goals in the end. Like Pirro 19, James got 12, Solomon 10, Brendy got 9.
Wow, fair play.
Willie 9, Bogle got 6, Largy got 6, Tanaka 5, Strout got 5, Firpo 4. Just bloody loads of people scored. Everybody was scoring.
Yeah, it's mad that we scored 95 goals and no one got 20.
Yeah.
But then that's what we were all saying last season, wasn't it? Because it was just Somerville scoring every week. We needed to spread it out.
The goals and assists stats as well are absolutely mind-blowing. Like Pirro 26, Solomon 22, James 21, Nonto 15, Firpo 14, Brendy 11, Bogle 10. It just everybody contributed a lot. Mateo Joseph, expected goals and expected assists 6.6, and he got 6. So close to 40.
Yeah, somewhat close.
In the sense that they're two numbers.
Depending on how what's your scale here.
Yeah.
Mitrovic, I think, got 43, actually. It looks like, in 21-22. So yeah, he was not quite there.
Headline grabber. I predicted the Rodon brothers would get involved in an international incident. And I amended this. I tweaked it in January to say I thought that might include a post-season promotion party. We saw a lot of shenanigans with the parade and around that time. But then he's gone dark, hasn't he, as Joe Rodon? He's gone sensible. They ended up I think it was in New York they went to, didn't they?
I was his girlfriend's gig, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he tapped out of Vegas, which would have been the prime location for shenanigans with his brother.
They should have sent Sam instead.
Yeah, I said that. I said that, subbed him in.
I've always kind of had Ampadu and Rodon together because they arrived at the same time, both like Welsh centre-backs, centre midfielder, if in Ampadu's case. But you've always had Ampadu down as the sensible one, haven't you? And then the season's ended and he's lost his mind. So, Sam could have been a nice addition just to give a bit of...
To calm Ethan down.
A bit of spice to the things. I've to follow Sam Rodon on Vinted now because I found his account on there. He's just flogging loads of Joe Rodon shorts for 50 quid a pair.
Right.
Which I can't decide if it's to his credit or a bit sad.
Didn't he?
He's just flogging all his brother's old shit for like a bit of beer money.
Didn't he message you?
Oh, he did, because I liked one of his items. It was the peacock tracksuit top, because I liked that at the time, but it was like £100 or something, wasn't it? Obviously, I wasn't going to pay that. But I found one on there. But then Sam Rodon was selling the full tracksuit for like £65, and if it was £30 for the top, might have taken the plunge. But I'm not going to wear peacock tracksuit bottoms at any point.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I could wear them around the house, in fairness, but because I liked it, he just sent me a message saying, "You want this tracksuit then?" Something like that. I just didn't reply. I didn't want to get into a conversation.
Well, anyway, no TMZ article for the Rodon brothers, which is good news. So who was your headline grabber?
I thought Verba leaving on deadline day, which would have been the first deadline day, and then when we revised it, there was still a January deadline day, and I thought there was a chance he'd slither out.
I'm sure it's what he wanted. A little turncoat bastard.
If it was only injuries that stopped him doing it, I'm sure.
I mean, Rob, you weren't a million miles away with yours. You predicted Pat Bamford.
Yeah, I said missing a pen or getting a move to MLS. He did sort of make some headlines towards the end of the season. People started liking him again.
It's mainly musical based, though, wasn't it? The song about Chris Wilder, and then the guitar action in Katie O'Brien's The Bar in Leeds.
The record will show he didn't score this season, but he did.
Yeah, that's upsetting me, actually.
The Middlesbrough one.
Yep.
Because of that idiot linesman.
He did a slide tackle in that game, didn't he? And we all basically forgave him for being injured for 3 years. We were like, yes, he did a slide tackle.
There was a real bit towards the end of the season of like, get Bamford back in the team after that little wobble.
Yeah. Dean he predicted a perfect hat-trick for Firpo in the FA Cup. That didn't quite come to pass.
No. January-wise, what else have we got then that we added to the melting pot?
But a couple of bits of Meslier chat, because he was still part of the discussion then. You correctly predicted, Rob, that he would save a crucial penalty.
It was very crucial.
He then, unfortunately, let a couple in after it.
If he didn't save that penalty, he would have lost that game.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. And you, Dan, said that you didn't think we'd ever be confident in him, but he'd be fine until the end of the season.
I mean, I was half right.
Yes. We might be confident in him again at some stage.
For another club.
But it seems unlikely. Let's be honest.
Bless him. Well, I think that's a fairly solid-ish set of predictions.
With apologies to Matteo Joseph.
Well, better luck next year. We'll be backing him again, maybe.
Into the second half of the show now then. Hello, we've tapped out Rob. He's just vanished into the ether. Did you see him go there?
Who's this guy that's come back? Because I can barely see him. Oh, there he is in his bright shirt.
What is that Hawaiian shirt, Chris?
This is a Hawaiian shirt that I promised I would wear if Leeds won the league. It was, I want to say made, but it probably wasn't made for my stag do.
Right.
In February, and they thought it would be funny to write champions on it, thinking that would annoy me. It says champions 24-25 in the back. But they had Bielsa put on it, as you can see there. But they also asked
another guy
for Pablo Hernandez to be put on it.
Yep.
And my mates got the wrong Pablo Hernandez.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it's the Chilean midfielder.
Normally with these things on a stag do, it's like a punishment, but that to me feels like a gift.
It's quite nice.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I was walking around Lisbon dressed like this, and people were complimenting me on my shirt. And I think it didn't work out the way that they wanted it to. I think they wanted people to be like, ha ha ha, or me to be annoyed that they maybe jinxed it. But this was also 3 days after the Sheffield United 3-1.
You missed a lot of the fun because you're off getting married.
I know.
And on your honeymoon. So congratulations, first of all.
Thanks.
And we had a great time as well.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
It looked pretty fun.
It was.
I watched the Plymouth game in the Airbnb that we were in Lecce, because I was going to Lecce Napoli that evening. So I had to kind of leave directly after it. So the goal went in, completely lost the run on myself, and then just like walked out onto the street. And I was like, how do I react now? What do I do now?
Why is no one else celebrating?
Yeah. I was singing Champions Again, Ole Ole, and people just looking at me like...
all that pent-up energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Anyway, we're here for awards, aren't we? We're here for awards, our awards, fictional awards, because there are no trophies. These are our TSB Plus members' scores across the year for players, for dickhead referees, managers, and so on and so forth. So we're going to run through some of the highs and the lows of the season and crown, ultimately, I suppose, our TSB Plus members' player of the year. Who was it? Who's it going to be? Who's your leading candidates? I mean, you know who's won it, but who's your leading candidates?
Oh, I think
Do you think some of the good
Joe
players?
Rothwell is in with the chance.
Good.
I know he's not won it, so that's why I've just thrown his name in there.
Let's start at the bottom and climb our way out then. The TSB Plus members' worst player of the year, a.k.a. the Max Verber Award.
Now, surely if we're going to start right at the bottom,
Right.
we need to start at the dickhead refs.
Really?
Because, I mean, that's like the proper warm-up act, because no one cares. From the best refs of the year.
The Michel Kitabjian Dickhead Ref of the Year Award.
But in the tolerable dickhead ref of the year. And all that really tells us is if we win a game comfortably, no one cares.
Yeah, the three that they've picked are very, like, there's no way Darren Bond deserved a 6.02 for the Stoke game.
No.
I thought he handled it really well. I didn't know it was him.
He just handled it really well, just pointing back towards the halfway line. That's where you need to restart, Stoke. Well done. Another goal.
Yeah, so your top three there for the tolerable Dickhead Ref of the year. Michael Salisbury versus Cardiff at home, which was 7-0, 5.55 out of 10. Bonnie's lad, Oliver Langford, Watford away, was that 4-0?
Yep.
All right, 5.72 out of 10. And yes, spoiler alert, Darren Bond versus Stoke at home, 6-0, 6.02 out of 10. Just an average of just over 6. Is that something that the PGMOL are they going to be pleased about that, do you think?
I mean, look, they can keep getting good scores as long as we keep getting good scores. That's the gist of this.
Yeah. So Kitabjian was the referee who refereed the European Cup final in 1975. Going to be talking about him actually in the coming days and weeks.
If you want to read about him, there's a magazine as well, I believe.
A bookazine, no less.
Bookazine.
The 1975 Champions of Europe, Paris 75 special, available on the website. So this referee award is named in honour of him, the Dickhead Referee of the Year. Your top three in reverse order. Top three, bottom three. Steve Martin.
He's the buff guy, isn't he? Steve Martin.
Yeah, I can't remember too much about this game.
No.
It was bad.
Away at Norwich. It was early in the season, wasn't it?
Just give us, no, it was was it 2-2 or was it 1-1, whichever?
1-1. They did get a penalty.
But it was a penalty, wasn't it?
No.
Probably not.
I'm going to say not.
It was Joe Rodon, wasn't it, doing a bit of a... It was one of those, it was soft, but I think he had a bit of a flick at him.
Do you know what it might have been? They had some galoot at left back who got away with quite a few who potentially should have been sent off.
Okay.
In the first half.
Which is a recurring theme, actually, as we go through the dickhead refs.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's in third place, the bronze medal position there for some sort of mild low-level annoyance. I'm sure somebody must have outperformed him by some stretches. Well, James Bell did anyway against Burnley at home. 1.3 out of 10. What was that for?
I think we should have had a penalty, shouldn't we? In that?
Solomon was fouled.
Right.
Yes.
And he was just very, very weak. He sent off Humphreys in like the 90th minute, but there should have been somebody sent off. Hannibal was allowed to stamp on Ampadu or whatever, maybe.
Yes.
As well. But that might have been reciprocal.
And the winner, no surprises here, John Busby versus Preston away with an average score of 1.12 out of 10. And that was the failure to send off some Champo thug for going through, who was it?
It was Bogle, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Edge of the box.
Bogle,
It was a straight red card offence, which he failed to even book him for.
Yeah, so it should have been at least the second yellow.
It's one of the ones you watch it and went, oh, he's off here. Oh, he's already been booked. Get in. Oh, no, fine. Leave him on.
But you're not actually doing anything.
Not doing anything.
Nothing
Just
at
a free
all.
kick will suffice.
Right.
Stephen Martin should have had a penalty in that game, apparently, as well. Just Googling it to try and work out what it was. But yeah, there are people complaining that we should have had something.
Dan James, maybe?
It's a long match report. Just trying to... Willie Nonto.
Oh.
That's it. Well, it was visibly kicked in the foot in the 65th minute in the area.
Right.
Martin was unmoved, apparently, due to his big, old muscles.
Is that what?
That's why, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Right, so we're next with the awards. What should we handle next? Do you want to do the Max Verber of the Year award?
I don't know. Do you want to go him or do you want to go Farke, which is kind of the same as a team thing, isn't it? Individual games we can pick on.
Whatever you want. I mean, what you decide.
Well, we go with Farke just to get it out of the way, then we can move on to the players.
Okay, so we've got good and bad performances that Farke oversaw. So quite a wide range of scores here.
Borough at home.
Right. So
that was bad.
Yeah, your top three, bottom three. Portsmouth away, 3.3 out of 10. Swansea at home, 2.63 out of 10, which feels like he's probably being used as a meat shield there for errors.
We weren't good in that game. I will say.
Yeah,
We should have won it still, but we weren't very good.
I don't think we deserved to win that game.
No, probably not.
No.
But having got in the lead.
Do you know what? Didn't need to, did we?
No.
Would have been nice if we had done.
Keeping it interesting.
We didn't need to. And I took it very well.
I remember that. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did. You said, fair play to Alan Sheehan. He's doing a good job there. I hope he gets it full time.
And a little teaser for this week's members show. I'm holding a pot of Aldi jelly, which featured around that time.
It did.
Remember when things went a bit bad for me? The presence of that jelly was sent to us, gets explained on the members show this week. And elsewhere, the crowning glory performance of the season, the Wacko Farke Out-Thread Award for the worst Daniel Farke performance of the year goes to the Borough League Cup game, which, to be fair, if that's your low tide mark at an average of 2 out of 10, that's fair enough. It's not been a bad season, has it?
It did spook me, though.
That I remember coming in, I think that was the week that I started. I think it was. And I remember coming in being like, oh, is this Leeds? Is this what we're about?
Yeah, it was the combo, wasn't it, of that performance. Max Verber came in for that game, didn't he? With a point to prove. And he made a point, I'm not sure what. And then kind of getting home after that and thinking, oh God, this is bad.
Yeah.
And then finding out Georgie was also on his way. And the feeling that maybe things were collapsing a little bit, which they weren't, as it turns out.
No, everything was fine.
And Borough, they got the win against us, which is important for them. They didn't get a single point other than that from us, did they, this season? But, they got the League Cup win. They had sold some tickets in the South Stand. Nice day for them. Good.
Yeah, season high for them.
Best of luck next year.
Should we deal with the Lifetime Contract Award for Daniel Farke's performances of the year? Should we do that? Yeah.
These basically mirror the referee performances, don't they?
I was going to say, you could probably guess these.
Yes. Well, some honourable mentions first for Plymouth away, an average of 9.1 out of 10. Watford away, 8.68. Sunderland at home, 8.67.
Plymouth away was within a minute of being about a 2.1. And in the end, it's a 9.1.
Cardiff at home, not the top performance. A 9.18 average out of 10 from our TSB Plus members. Bristol City at home, 9.2. And then Stoke tops the lot, 9.37 average score out of 10.
We could have beaten Stoke 12-0.
We honestly could have. I predicted 10-0 at half-time.
If we carried on.
It's just that everyone was distracted.
Yeah.
By the time half-time came around, everyone was like, oh, this is done. It's fine. Just go out, finish it, whatever. But yeah, the first half, the first 20 minutes, was it something like that?
4-0.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it.
That should have been 18-0. If it was 4-0 after 20 minutes, it should have finished 18-0.
Yep, that's how it works.
Perot should have had...
That's what Johnny Cooper definitely would have said.
Yeah. Perot's in line for like 12 goals there as a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That'd have been decent, wouldn't it? But yeah.
A nice day was had by all anyway.
Some really big wins.
Yeah. We were really good.
The Watford game seems to have gone down very well. We were brilliant that night.
That was the one where you looked at and you thought, tough one that.
Yeah, because we switched it up. A little bit more counter-attack, less aggressive, and it really worked. Maybe something to look out for next year.
Interesting theory, Christopher.
Tom Cleverley no longer in the job.
R.I.P.
Very surprising.
What else have we got then, awards-wise? Are we doing the Max Verber of the Year award yet?
Lowest single score of the year? Player-wise, it's not great.
Well, we're doing the single game score. Are we doing that one?
Let's address it.
Yeah, Brendy didn't come out very well against QPR with only 2.28 out of 10 average, but that's not...
That's the away game, isn't it?
Yeah.
The QPR one.
But that's not on the medal positions. It's not on the podium. Third was Max Verber against Borough in the League Cup, 1.77 average out of 10. Didn't look arse at all in that game. I was away at that point, but, that's the stories that are being told to me.
Yeah. He couldn't even... It wasn't even one of those, he doesn't look fit. It was like... Couldn't be bothered doing anything with the ball. It was literally passed to him at points and he was like, someone else do it. Just giving it away to some other people.
It looked like playing FIFA with the controller disconnected.
Yeah. But it wasn't the lowest.
No. In the silver medal position, Ilan Meslier with 1.59 out of 10 against Swansea, which is quite harsh given that he saved a penalty earlier in that game.
Yeah. Interestingly, Mellier's Sunderland away performance doesn't make it onto this. I think if that comes towards the end of the season, that happening in the last minute when people have maybe not got the same patience they have at the start of a season, receives a much lower score and maybe makes it into this top 3. But as it is, we were being nice.
There's kind of
to Sunderland.
Yeah, well, there's still kind of a...
Maybe it bounced.
Well, I was going to say there's a bit of an X-Files vibe to it. You're not quite sure what's happened. There's something spooky in the air at that point.
Whereas Hull and Swansea are more basic, like tip it over the bar, just hold on to it.
Fool me once.
Yeah. And Ilan Meslier wins it with his performance against Hull with an average 1.26 score out of 10.
That game as a whole is disastrous viewing.
Yeah.
For him, it must be said.
Ah, well.
Sorry, Ilan.
Is it time for the Max Verber of the Year award yet?
Well, who's going to win it then?
I don't know. We'll have to see, won't we? Should we go through
Trying to build suspense by, by leaving it open.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's do the highest single game score of the year then. Scores out of 10. Honourable mentions for Joe Rothwell against Sunderland, 9.59 out of 10.
Off the bench.
Yeah, with his assists for Pascal. Dan James against Cardiff, 9.53 out of 10 when he just ran amok. He had a great time, didn't he? But the medal positions, Jayden Bogle against Stoke, 9.62 out of 10 average. He was fantastic that day.
Relentless.
Pascal Struijk, off the bench against Sunderland, 9.78 out of 10. Special teams.
Pretty much, yeah. That Bogle performance, you've played well when you just force a team to make changes. They're just like, this can't go on. It should have made him sooner. Should have got 20 minutes in and it'd been like, right, just, I don't know, put 2 left backs on or something. Just get something over there.
3 left backs.
Jesus Christ. And then Joel Pirro.
Yeah, against Stoke, 9.87 average out of 10, which is about as close to perfect as you're going to get.
Second half was terrible.
Right.
The thing with the Bogle as well, the left back isn't supposed to be marking him. The left back is supposed to be marking the right winger. But
yes,
Bogle is just running past them as well.
I think it's hard to argue with the top scores, but there's probably not a lot between them all, is there really?
No. Is it time for the Max Verber of the Year award?
Go on then, it's Max Verber.
Let's do it. It's Max Verber. Yeah, well done. Thank you. So, Pete, these are the overall averages for the players who performed, should we say, least best?
Yes.
Because we don't want to be mean, because we've just gone up as champions. So some of the lower ones, Matteo Joseph averaged 5.83 out of 10, which when, a lot of it was from the bench, wasn't it? You tend to find like a lot of people who come off the bench just don't get scored very highly because they either don't get the chance to impress on the game and people just go around 5 or 6 because somewhere in the middle.
Also, if Leeds lose or draw, the subs are all getting like 3, 2.9. We're an emotional bunch. Farke said it. The TSB Plus members are no different.
Brendy ended up with 5.97 out of 10. We excluded James DeBio from this, 5.76 out of 10, because he only made 2 appearances, one of which was from the bench against Millwall in the FA Cup, and we know that doesn't count because we were concentrating on the league.
Indeed.
So your top 3, Ilan Meslier averaged 5.81 out of 10, which, considering he played most of the season, is probably the harshest out of these, even though he ended up with the bronze medal.
Yeah, and you've got a 1.2, a 1.5, and then a 2.2 for the Sunderland game. The factor in there as well, it's definitely brought that average down.
Pat Bamford averaged 5.26 out of 10. But the winner of the Max Verber of the Year awards for the lowest overall average score, Max Verber. Did you see that coming?
I didn't. It's a surprise. It's a big surprise to me.
5.06 out of 10, which actually, do you know what? He scored a goal. He looked fine when he came off the bench, but we're an emotional bunch, Chris.
Yeah, I think the Bamford one's really harsh because his season's been reframed as the impact that he made, especially in the later games, calming everyone down from the bench. But he probably wasn't helped by those games at the start of the season where he was very clearly unfit.
Yeah.
And being thrown in, and the 90 minutes against Borough in the League Cup, which he probably got like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah,
right.
Which was that bad that even Daniel Farke forgot it had happened when he was talking about how he'd not played in ages. It's like, played the other week. I know it was bad, but he did play.
I was there.
You did start him. Was that an accident? Did you just put the wrong number on the team sheet or something?
Is that all of them done then, is it? Oh, we should just say, by the way, some averages before we do the last one. The ref season average was 3.48 out of 10. The Farke season average was 6.46 out of 10, which is, I think it's to be expected with the highs and lows of the season. It would
100-point season, that's low though.
Yeah, it would, but it would end up, but everything's relative, isn't it, when you're marking these? So if you win, everyone's going to fare quite well. If you don't perform so well, even if it's only a rare thing, it's going to get marked down. So I don't know. I think he probably deserves higher than that, but
almost like there's no rationality to this whatsoever.
But you can't wait the ending of the season higher than the marks earlier in the season, can you? So that's that. Should we do the TSB Plus Members Player of the Year then? Anybody you want to give a mention to?
Yeah, I just put in, I think people will be quite surprised that Manor Solomon got 6.58 average score, but I thought to note that it's 6.93 since Christmas.
Right.
Which probably makes sense, but it also means he's not in the top 4 or 5 for the season overall. And then coming in as another honourable mention is Joe Rodon, 6.81.
If you were to just add up the scores, he would probably win it because I think he's played every game as Rodon. You know what I mean? If you were going to weight him that way. Although then Brendan Aronson would probably come about third, even though everyone's hated it. So, but yeah, I think Rodon has been superb again for basically all the season. I think there was a tiny bit right at the start, maybe when we conceded 3 on the opening day. People are like, oh, it's typical this. We've signed someone and they've signed a low knee and they've gotten a shit. But he hasn't.
And also,
really good.
Jaden Bogle, 6.56, is remarkably low, but it's probably from those early games where people didn't really know what the deal was with him.
He hadn't settled. You could say the same about Solomon, who wasn't fully fit. It took time to ramp it all up. Like I say, you almost feel like you want to weight the back end of the season higher because that's when the pressure was highest, I suppose.
Yeah, and with Solomon, it looked really good, as I recall, on his debut, but then, had some time out injured and stuff, and it's that bit where everyone goes, oh, bloody Premier League low knee, he's not even asked. He's just going to go back to Spurs next year. He's not bothered about this. He's not even trying, and he's injured all the time, useless. Then he turns out to be like one of our best players.
Sign him.
For a large portion of the season.
Yeah, so Joe Rodon missed out on the medal positions with a 6.81 out of 10 average. Ethan Ampadu pipped him with a 6.82 average out of 10. They'll be squabbling about that in the Wales dressing room, aren't they?
All right. I've got my Ampadu Rodon Pulp Fiction t-shirt
Nice.
on today.
Very nice. Is that one of ours?
It's not.
Right.
Take it off now. That's unlicensed merch in the room. It's a good shirt, in fairness.
So Dan James ended up taking home the silver medal, 6.96 out of 10, and the gold went to Autanaka, 7.04. I think you could...
Skewed, no doubt, by your own.
Yeah, I was
input.
on there. Yeah, I set up a click farm to do that. But yeah, I mean, you could have swapped those two around easily, I think, at any point.
Yeah, I don't actually know who I would have picked, just given an outright choice on this.
Yeah, I don't think I would have picked Tanaka.
Maybe not. You've got to remember the early days of Tanaka, he got really high scores every week.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with Tanaka is as well, his scores, I've no data to back this up because I've not looked at the spreadsheet in ages, but I've got a feeling he probably performed well on the scores even when the general team vibe was not great because of the type of player he is. He probably didn't suffer as much from a bad performance. Whereas if we've failed to score, Dan James is probably getting a 5. Tanaka can still get a 6.5 on that. That sort of a game.
Yeah, it's once he starts featuring regularly that his scores go up. He got a 4.2 against Burnley, which he must have played like a handful of minutes off the bench, if even.
That's interesting.
My boy.
That's when it wasn't that wasn't was that his debut? No, it can't have been. Can it?
No, he came on against Hull.
That was it.
And nearly got a 7.
Right.
For 6 minutes of just knocking the ball about.
Yeah. Tidy. But some of us saw it, didn't we? Some of us saw it.
Yes, they did.
So well done to Autanaka. In many ways, as it was with Ethan Ampadu negotiating the bonuses for the team, I think they could share these awards. Not you, Max.
Sorry, Max. But you did try to leave.
Yeah. And we've always, traditionally taken things like that very well.
Yeah. I actually think 5.06 is quite generous for him across the season, if I'm being honest.
And I know Gonzo tried to leave as well, which he addressed actually, didn't he, in an Instagram post? Did you see he tagged on the baby banner that was made? But I think maybe that was for his own good, that banner. I don't really disagree with it being made still. Part of me still goes, well, fair enough, I suppose.
Yeah.
You can't expect fans to, I see the nuance in this. I appreciate you've probably got better offers and your contract you're on maybe wasn't signed at a point at which, but none of that with fans. You can just you just get to go, no, I think you should stay. You signed a contract. knuckle down, get on with it.
You're a dickhead.
So, he's entitled to not think that. But he's, in the end, signed his contract, scored a crucial goal for us, didn't he, on the final day as well? Scored a winner against Swansea, which then wasn't a winner. We'd remember that fondly as well, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Maybe there's a list of goals that have been forgotten about this year. I watched the video of all of the goals from this season, and I found myself going, yeah, but nobody remembers that one because of this, and especially like the Tanaka goal.
Yeah, the whole one.
Tarnished by those greased gloves. Silly boy. Never mind. Right then, I'm going to go put my Tanaka poster up then. Maybe drink out of my Tanaka mug.
He probably is signing of the season, isn't he? Given the
pound for pound. Oh.
I mean, Bogle, you could argue, or maybe Solomon on loan, actually, come to think of it. Both contributed well, but you would have expected good things from them, I suppose. Whereas Tanaka, let's be honest, we'd not heard of him.
I mean, come on.
I'll be honest. You can choose to lie if you want.
I dreamed of him, Michael.
I'd heard of him last year when we didn't sign him.
Yeah, that's about the extent of it, though. He turned up and was like, shit, this guy's good. So it'll be interesting to see how he does next year.
Next year's hero of the week, most weeks, I imagine. We're not doing that. That's resting now for the summer. We should say thanks to Bruce for popping in from the Tuk Tuk Club. We met Bruce because we'd seen him before Bruce, but we'd had a little bit of Guinness at the point where we'd met him before. I've
seen him in the tunnel a few times.
Yeah, but we met him in the flesh in here, Bruce from the tuktukclub.com. And we had a lovely chat, didn't we? Nice to pop in. So nice to see Bruce. And anything else to add to this before we wrap it up then for this one? We'll continue rolling over the summer, you know.
Got AD White next week. Popping in for the West Stand, have a chat about that. See who else we can turn up. See, he'll still speak to us, shall we?
If you want to contribute to next year's TSB Plus Members Player of the Year and you're not a member, go and sign up.
Squareball.net/plus.
I will say, actually, if you are a bit of, because things do slow down over summer, don't they? If you do sign up to TSB Plus, there's tons of stuff in the back catalogue to get you through.
Yeah.
If you really want to spend the summer with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might.
You can get in touch. We might bring it up on the daily email, which you get every day.
Beautiful. Squareball.net/plus. We'll catch you in a bit.
The Square Ball Podcast.